Hi guys, welcome back. I have just come back from a food shop and I thought this time in this video we could do a bit of like a foodie, homely kind of vlog, which is basically me. I'm just going to show you some bits of my food shop because I did a little cheeky shop at M&S, just a small one, just one bag, because you know, getting in Christmas I wanted to be a bit more fun, a bit more festive, so splashed out on one of my shopping, and then the rest I got from a sort of, from Tesco. So we'll go through the bits that I've got just quickly, some of the bits that I really like, and then we're going to be making a delicious Christmassy recipe. And I have some puff pastry, some brie, some cranberry, and I won't tell you anymore, but we're going to make something very delicious, and obviously I'm going to put a photo probably on the thumbnail, so you're going to see anyway. But yeah, let's get started. Right guys, this is the Marks and Spencer's haul. I am very excited. I've basically got some stuff for similar to a coq au vin, which is like a chicken in wine, but I'm doing like a slightly Christmassy take on it. I'm doing a chicken and chestnut. Sorry, the doorbell just went. But I'm back. So yeah, I'm basically going to be doing a chicken and chestnut casserole. It's going to be not too creamy. It's going to be more of like a stock-based dish. Really excited to do it. I've got some new sort of pans to do it in, which hopefully you'll be seeing on my other social media. But let me show you some of the bits. So I just also fancy some coffee. So I thought I haven't tried out their normal gold coffee, so I thought I'd do that. And then for the dish itself, for the base, I've got some onions, I've got some thyme, I've already got loads of seasoning, and I actually did to get some nutmeg, not for this recipe, but for a few other recipes I thought that'd be perfect and Christmassy. Butter, obviously, for added flavour, not just olive oil. Cranberry to go on top. I'm going to do it with some creamed potato, I think, so that will be really nice. Then as the main source of protein in the dish, I'm going to be doing thighs and drumsticks. They're a bit cheaper than breasts. And then I've got some really beautiful rainbow baby carrots, which I thought would be really fun. And then to add more of the colour, I bought some of the normal orange ones as well. And then for the sauce, it's basically going to be white wine, chicken stock, which is not here, and then I'm going to do some cream. I might do a dollop of cream. I'll see how I feel, because I feel like every dish with a dollop of cream is better. And then the chestnuts, which are here, I've got to show you these. So I love using Merchant Gourmet, but I went into M&S and also saw these, so I thought I would give these a go as well. Anyway, so let's go through the rest of the Tesco shop that I did as well. I've got loads of other bits. Lewis is going to be very happy. I've got a few little cheeky bits for him, and I've also started snacking already. This, I don't know if it's new, but, oh, actually it is, I think it is new. But anyway, the extra coconutty, this cocoa is amazing, so highly recommend that. And because I got bored and really hungry and didn't eat a proper breakfast, I have had a third of these already, so do recommend, but I don't recommend for breakfast. So let's go through the rest of the Tesco shop. Okay, so I've got the shop out, and I thought we'd just go through some of like the more fun bits, because you know, like everyone needs milk and orange juice and all that stuff, but I thought we'd go through the fun bits, which are kind of a bit more festive, a bit more Christmassy, and it will show you kind of some of the recipes that I'm going to be doing soon. And yeah, if you've seen the bake along that I did, or rather if you've not seen it, go and have a look at it, because it's basically a bake along on how you can make some really easy gingerbread, add white chocolate cookies. And yeah, it's just a really nice thing to sort of have something to watch in the background and like do it with you. So I did that, I uploaded it a few days ago, so go and check that out. But yes, I thought I'd show you some of the bits I've got. So the first things that you could probably see, I've got I've got lots of bags of these two chestnuts products. So Merchant Gourmet Fab, I use them a lot, but especially at Christmas when they do their chestnuts. Well, they have the chestnuts the whole year round, but I use them loads at Christmas. So they've got whole chestnuts and then the chestnut puree. They're both delicious. You can use them in sweet and savoury recipes. That's really, really nice. So really recommend those. And then two things that are kind of like snacky, lunchy things that I have probably got to know more over like the past year, but I've known Higgidy as a brand for ages. So Higgidy, this is their garlic, mushroom and Emmental quiche. That is really, really, really delicious. And then this is a chickpea salad by The Real Greek, and I'm pretty sure when I was in Windsor there was a shop called The Real Greek, and I'm pretty sure it's the same one. So I think it's the same brand. Anyway, if not, then maybe copyright issues there. But yeah, these are really, really delicious. Highly recommend those. And then, of course, I've got a lot of pork sausage meat. It's already been kind of seasoned, and then I've got some extra sage. Now, obviously, these are looking very Christmassy, perfect for like stuffing, perfect for kind of making, just like loads of you can make sausage rolls with them, and you can put stuff in some cranberry sauce. They would be so delicious. And then for Lewis, he is obsessed with fruit gums, so I got him some fruit gums. And then I was thinking that I might do a Christmas lasagna. So having like a kind of tomato-y pork sausage sage vibe for one layer, and then the other layer being kind of a nutmeg spiced creamy cabbage and carrot layer. So I've got a set of, well, 2 sets of lasagna sheets that I was going to use for that, but I thought that could be really fun. So if you like the idea of that, do let me know in the comments. And yeah, if it's popular or if I just want to make it anyway, then I'll make it and I'll stick it online. So yeah, and then the other bits are just, I got something that we always really love to buy that quite often you don't see because they're quite hidden in the like the 3 for 2 section veg, is edamames. Delicious, really tasty, just with a little bit of sea salt there, really nice. So yeah, they're the bits that I thought would go through. And now I'm going to pop these away, have a little clean up of the kitchen, and then I'm going to make the brie and cranberry bites, which I am very excited to make with you. So very excitingly, we're about to start the Christmas dish that we're going to do together. So I have some ready rolled puff pastry, and also guys, I saw a clip the other day saying from Mary Berry, and she doesn't even make her own puff pastry. So forget doing that. Just make it make it easy on yourself and just buy some. Then what have I got? Where's my brie? Got some brie, which is by President. We really like this one. And then where's my cranberry? Cranberry jam is somewhere. I'll find that, and then let's get started. Got all the ingredients out, so we're going to be making small little puff pastry squares. So I've got puff pastry, and I'm going to do brie, cranberry, and then I actually put a little bit of mustard on them as well. But you taste the mustard a little bit, but it's not overpowering because I'm not a big fan of spicy mustard. So yeah, I'll show you the ingredients, and then yeah, it's a really easy recipe. It's literally, if you have a cutter like this, if you don't, it doesn't matter. You could cut it into little squares. Or I might even cut it into squares actually today to make it easy. But anyway, you can do them in circles, which I actually posted on Instagram my recipe for last year. And people seem to really like it. And it's a really fun kind of Christmassy finger food. It's something that you could do if you're going to like a party. You know, they keep quite well. Just I leave them out. Well, you should refrigerate them, but you know, you can leave them out for an hour or two, like whilst guests are coming in and kind of nibbling on them. So yeah, they're very delicious, so easy to do, and yeah, just really Christmassy. So let's get started. And also, before you get cooking, I have preheated the oven to 180 degrees, and then so that the brie melts quite well and you get a nice crispy pastry, I'm going to put them, it's not too high in the oven, but it is kind of like the upper third, just in case you were wondering. Right, so oven is preheating, and now it's such an easy recipe. Literally, all you need to do is chop up the brie into kind of little chunks, and to be honest, you can decide how big you want the pastry, so you can put more chunks on it. It doesn't really matter. Basically, just chop up your brie into kind of 1/2 centimetre slices. Get a spoon ready for your cranberry sauce. Get a fork ready to beat your egg mixture. Well, just an egg. And then if you have a pastry brush, that'd be really helpful. You can kind of just use your fingers if you haven't got one, but this makes it a lot easier and a lot less messy. So I've had this one for years. I think I might have originally got it from Lakeland, I can't remember. But anyway, I've had it for years, it's really good. The silicone ones last forever. And I put mine in the dishwasher as well. You're probably not meant to, but anyway. Yeah, get those ready. And then it's literally like 4 ingredients. There's a little bit of mustard as well that I put in. I did mention that earlier. So yeah, puff pastry, an egg, Dijon mustard, brie, cranberry sauce, and a little sprig of thyme for the top. So honestly, like literally all I do is I do it at an angle so you can get like longer strips of the brie. So if you just chop that end bit off, I normally just eat that bit. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And then I chop chunks that are about that thick. So it's about 1/2 centimetre, I would say, maybe slightly over. But anyway, if you just do them that thick all the way up, then basically it's kind of the perfect thickness to get like a really good chunk of cheese, but it also melts pretty well. And obviously for Christmas, like creamy cheeses that melt is everything we want in a recipe. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that for the whole of the brie. You could also use like other cheeses, by the way, for this. I'm only using brie because it's like, you know, most classically traditional for these kind of like Christmassy sharers. But anyway, yeah, so the long ones like that, I then chop into like little halves. Depends how long they get, and depends if you have like a round of brie or a triangle. But anyway, that is nice and easy for the start of the recipe. But yeah, whilst I prep the pastry, I thought I'd sort of explain. I feel like I'm a little burnt out at the moment. I feel like I've done so much work recently with kind of outreach and just general work and sorting out admin and doing all the recipes that you see online, that I feel like I'm just a bit burnt out, and I needed today just to do a nice chill YouTube video with you guys, making something that's just actually really easy to make and not, you know, just not complicated. But anyway, what I was going to say is that what's great about the puff pastry recipes, including this one, is that you can just use the pre-made grease-proof paper. So I will just put this straight onto the baking tray, and it makes it so easy, no mess, no melting pastry. So yeah, that is part of what makes this super easy. And ideally, you want a really big baking tray. Mine just about fits. But anyway, perfect. Yeah, let's go on to the next step. So I think I will do squares this time, actually, to change it up a little bit. So I'm just thinking if I do, yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it in half. So the easiest way to do it is just roughly cut it in half that way. And then if you cut it, what we're going to do, now we'll do 3. All right, we're going to do it half and half again this way, just to get roughly even rectangles. And then I'm going to do the other way into like thirds, so that they're kind of a bit more squarish. So I'll do a little mark there and a little mark there. Yeah, let's do that. Right, and then, now this is just slightly fiddly, but you don't really have to do it if you don't want to. But what you're going to do, just with a sharp knife, just lightly press a little square. I'm going to do it like this because it's a bit more efficient. But just lightly press like a little square into each pastry square. So basically what's going to happen is when this goes in the oven, it's going to allow us it's going to sort of half bake, and then we're going to press the middle bit down, and then we'll put the brie inside it after. So the edge will be puffed up and the middle bit will be like puffed down but also cooked, because I feel like quite often when people do pastry recipes, they are quite sneaky and they don't show you that the bottom of the pastry is incredibly soggy, and they're just sort of clever with the shots that they do. So, you know, you never really know that it's a soggy bottom until you actually try it. But anyway, that's beside the point. This is all about Christmassiness. So, yeah, after you've done this, then we're going to put this straight into the oven. So, sorry guys, I actually lied. I haven't put the egg mixture on yet. So, if you basically crack an egg and just beat it with a fork, we're then going to brush the outside of the outside sort of rim that we cut into the pastry. Also, just a tip, if you're someone that sort of doesn't really want egg on their pastry, I know some people are a little bit funny with egg and just sort of prefer not to eat them. Obviously, this is not a vegan recipe, there is brie in it. But you know, you try and find your own vegan brie if they do that. I think it does exist. But anyway, if you're someone that doesn't want egg, you can mix milk, and I would use whole milk. And I've tested it out before, and what I do, I dissolve sort of a bit of sugar, literally like sort of half a teaspoon of sugar in, let's say, I don't know, 30 mils of milk. Let that dissolve, and kind of the sugar helps the, helps the pastry crispen up, get crispy in the oven, which is kind of a similar thing that the egg wash does. The science behind it is probably completely different. Well, it must be completely different. But anyway, that's a little sort of hack that I figured out somehow. Yeah, Paul Hollywood told me that you could use milk, but then I added the sugar because I figured out it would caramelize quite nicely, and it worked. So anyway, yeah, there's your alternative. So I'm going to just brush around the outside rims of the pastry, and then they will actually go into the oven for not for long. I'll put the whole recipe below, by the way, in the description, so that I'm not just telling you it, and you know, you can read it as well. Yeah, and then it comes out, we'll put the cheese on, put the cranberry on, put a bit of mustard on, and then it's going to go back in. Right, these are going to go in the oven. So basically they've been in the oven for about 10 minutes and you can see they're not fully cooked at all and they're still quite sort of firm like pastry. But this just means that the middle bit kind of cooks a lot easier now that we're going to put the, when we're going to put the toppings on. So yeah, let's do that now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a little bit of Dijon mustard, probably not a lot, probably like just a really small bit, like that much on each one. So I'm literally just gonna spread it across the middle. And it just gives it like a slight warmth that's quite nice with like the really sweet cranberry. And then I might put a bit more mustard on some of them because Lewis bloody loves it. So yeah, gonna put this on first, then goes on the brie and then the cranberry. Right, that is the mustard done. So then with the brie, I'm basically going to get, I'm just going to basically try and cover up the square. So I'm going to put like that, and then actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut some of them thinner, and then I'm going to put that in there. So the kind of like the middle square is covered up, if that makes sense. And then I'll do that on all of them, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Right, that is what they look like, which they will obviously melt in the oven. So now I'm going to add the cranberry. So I think when you're doing anything kind of Christmassy, always think like sweet. I mean, I know it kind of goes the same with every recipe, but I feel like you have to like overdo it a little bit. So when you think of like sweet, salty flavors, just like kind of think of something extra sweet and extra salty. So I did a version of these with capers, which are obviously pretty salty, kind of pickled tasting things. And then with the sweetness, instead of just doing like a small drizzle of honey, like, you know, just whack on a bit of you know, whack on loads of honey or some cranberry sauce, and yeah, just kind of like go a little bit overboard to make it extra special. I feel like that's the way to do it at Christmas. If you're a chef, you probably disagree with me, but hey, I'm a home cook, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, like even with, for example, like chestnuts are a really good, they're a really good example of an ingredient that takes on salty flavour as well and a sweet flavour as well. So a bit like a pumpkin pie, you could do like a chestnut puree pie as a sweet version, and it takes on sort of, you know, I don't know, sweet flavours really, really well, whether it's caramel or chocolate. And then they also work really well in like really savoury recipes. So I did like a mushroom and chestnuts creamy kind of casserole thing. It did really well on Instagram actually, so go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, I feel like just with Christmas stuff, you just want to go a little bit overboard, you know what I mean? Anyway, these are looking great. This is what they look like now. So basically gonna go in the oven, they're gonna melt the brie and it should puff up like a nice puff pastry, and then I'm gonna bring them out the oven and I'm just gonna put a little sprig of thyme on each one, and they'll be so cute with a little garnish of green. They'll just look so nice and yeah, perfect for Christmas sharing. I know you're not meant to open the oven when it's still cooking, but anyway, look how good they look. Sorry about the like messy oven screen, but anyway, they look so good. They're crisping up nicely and the brie is kind of starting to melt very nicely. So yeah, I'm very excited for them to come out. How good do they look? Hopefully you can see at the angle. My mom just came in and she was like, whoa, they look great. So yeah, this is right up my mom's street. Anything with brie or cranberry, and she is all over. So yeah, I'm gonna let them cool down a bit and then we will give them a test. So hopefully you can see here the little kind of divot we made with like the sharp knife means that kind of the outside bit can like puff up a little bit more whilst the middle stays down for the brie. So yeah, these are probably, well, they should be nice. Oh yeah, they are nice and crispy. How good do they look? And if I can turn it over, hopefully it won't fall off. No soggy bottoms, nice and crispy. You can hear there. So yeah, very excited to finish these off and try them. How cute do those look? So obviously no recipe will be complete without giving it a little try. So let's test it. I feel like there's something that's really easy to eat. So it's perfect if you are going to someone's for like, you know, Christmas or New Year's, or I mean Halloween's gone, but you know, if you're going over to someone's for like a cute sort of night in and you want to bring something along that's a little bit fancy but really easy, honestly, like highly recommend. Like these will go down a right treat. I was thinking you could even do, it would be really nice if you did a goat's cheese version. So if you did like goat's cheese with maybe some walnut or a candied walnut with some honey, that would be so nice. Or even like a mixture of like goat's cheese and blue cheese with a bit of honey on top, or hot honey if you find it like a bit spicy. If you can heat up running. You can buy hot honey, but if you heat up some honey in a saucepan and add a few chili flakes and keep it simmering, get it running, it gets like a little bit spicy, so you could drizzle that over the top. You could drizzle that over the top of this as well, and that'd be so nice. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed our, oh look, these ones are stuck together. That's quite satisfying. I like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed making these with me, and yeah, give them a go. There's literally like 4 or 5 ingredients. I'll put the recipe in the details, all in the description. So I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, try the bake along because that was really fun to do, and the recipe is so easy. It's really comforting, and I feel like sometimes it's just nice to have like a YouTube video on and just do the baking with someone like at the same time. So that was kind of the vibe I was going for. So check that one out, and obviously please subscribe if you like it, and tell me what you like, whether it's the vlog style, whether it's the food shop information, or whether it's these like more fun recipe ones, because yeah, I mean Christmas is nearly here and like everyone's just wants like cozy comforting food. So yeah, let me know what you want to see. Subscribe, comment, like, do what you need to do, and I'll see you next time.